It's sort of a process of absorption, really. I mean, you read around the subject and you read around other people's portrayals to a certain extent. I've never seen the play, and I'd only read it once previously to reading it for this audition. I didn't sort of come in thinking, this is how I want to play them. I sort of came in thinking, I have my own ideas, but it's really been kind of a collective process, actually. Things have happened very organically.
The last week and a half, maybe, has been kind of just digging and making relationships more detailed and moments more detailed.
The building up of the character is much more to do with discussion on the rehearsal floor about who's saying that, why are you saying that. It's not about let's imagine and construct and invent some backstory about the person.
Acting in Chekhov is to some extent, is a burden. It's a burden because of what it comes with. It comes with the birth of Stanislavski, the birth of the method. And so therefore there is a burden and a responsibility on the actor to be Chekhovian, to be method. Stanislavski started working on this method brilliantly to stop actors demonstrating grief, happiness, sadness, whatever, people hanging onto the curtains, overacting, and actually making it real.
Rather than discovering a moment and it all being about you, what Stanislavski tells you is that you must focus your attention on the other character. And that's much more interesting to watch, I think. Sometimes you find yourself in rehearsal and you think, I don't know what's going on in this, why am I not instinctively getting it? And that's when you can really go back to those ways of working and actually kind of section up the text and say, right, what am I really doing here? Who am I trying to affect?
From what I understand from other people, I use bits of what he purports or purported as a method. But no, I don't. I mean, I think every actor has their own way of doing stuff. You know, there's aspects of. I mean, Mamet wrote a book called True and False, which I've read two or three times, which I think is very useful. The point he makes about actioning, which is what Max Stafford Clark uses religiously, that method. I find that quite helpful if you're having, if I have a problem with connections, thoughts between, or connecting things up, or just if I need to do a bit of work on something, it's not coming out instinctively, I'll action it. I'll try and think of what I'm trying to do to the other person.
Although I will talk about Russian history and about the social period in which it was written and about Chekhov, people are given research material to work on and present to the rest of the company about music of the time, or about health of the time, or scientific discoveries about industrialization.
Each time you hear somebody talk about a certain facet of Russian life in 1903, 1904, it can only add to your portrayal on stage. Learning about what marriage was like, what sex was like, how the money worked, what were the sheer distances across Russia, what the trains were like, what would that journey have been like, 4 days travelling from France to Russia. All of that stuff hugely affects how you feel if you have that in your imagination, where you've just come from. And I think if you don't have that, then you don't have any sense of actual place or reality.
I'm very suspicious of methods. I think that you have to be forensic in the way that you approach plays and characters. You have to break it down, see who's talking to whom, see who's not listening. You know, who the person who hasn't spoken for 2 pages, why?
Like Shakespeare, the reason why Chekhov will be done forever is because human nature has not changed.
I love him as a writer. I think he is infinite in depth and scope and in humanity, and there's nothing better than that when you're doing a play.
The characters are so multifaceted. They're not predictable in any way, and I mean, particularly Wanamaker, but all of the women are really filled out as characters, and I think that's quite rare for writing of that time, and just such a joy to do.